This is episode 33. As you can see from the thumbnail, bang bang, choir boy or culprit. And that, of course, is referring to, as pictured, Colin Albert, the one who was or wasn't in the house. That's for the jury to decide, I suppose. But it's clear that the evidence is pointing to more and more every day. In this case, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed, we are seeing that each day the facade that the Commonwealth has been trying to portray this whole time in the pre-trial hearings is really cracking. And we're seeing that there is at least negligence in the investigation of John O'Keefe, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, when he lost his life. The investigation into the loss of his life was not good because, I mean, we've been through this 13 days now. We've got red solo cups, we've got snow blowers, we've got all sorts of reasons why the investigation, we've got family friends from long before. That's a good enough reason for reasonable doubt here. And there's just mountains and mountains of doubt, I believe. And if people are paying attention, they will see it. So for this episode, we're going to watch the cross examination of Colin Albert, who is alleged to have potentially caused John's injuries. And they haven't even, we're at day 13, they haven't even brought in the medical examiner or talked about his injuries really, except um, except for the EMTs who arrived on scene. They explained what injuries they saw, but we never actually saw picture, I think they saw one picture and it wasn't even all of, it wasn't his face. It was just his arm that they saw in court, the jury. So hopefully we get the ME soon. But right now on this, well, today on the stand, this was 5/16, so Wednesday, week 3 of, no wait, it's Thursday, sorry, week 3 of this trial. Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse anybody. I'm confused. And we're almost at the end of we're going into the last day of week 3, and it's at this point we still don't have any evidence that Karen caused any injuries to John. We don't have the ME to verify the injuries or give some kind of estimate as to where these injuries came from. So it's all very odd. Everything in this case is odd. Like everything. There's just so much to go over in this case, as you're well aware. So we're going to watch Colin Albert's cross-examination, his testimony today that took place. We start off in the morning with Alan Jackson doing cross-examination. I have it on 1.5 speed so we can get through a little quicker. And if you need to turn it down or slow it down, you can do so with the little gear. Whoops, hold on. The little gear that you see on the screen. I'm pointing to it in the screen. And then you can change the playback settings if you find it too fast. Oh, they don't have captions either. I might have to slow it down if it's fast, but I think you guys can probably keep up. I'm Uh, um, sorry about that. I really wanted captions because it's easier with Adam Lally, low talker, blah, 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 and he just like mumbles all of his words in one tone, one big long sentence. So, unfortunately, we don't have captions, so we're gonna have to use our ears to hear what Lally says. So I'll try to turn it up as best I can, and I'll turn my mic down a little bit. And then we can begin. Let's go. Please hit that like button as we get started. Thank you so much.
Mr. Albert, who did you talk to in order to prepare for your testimony starting yesterday? Can you rephrase that question, please?
Phrase the question. You didn't understand my question?
No.
Okay. Who did you speak
First of all, I just want to say that every single one of these McAlberts has said, "Can you rephrase the question?" or "I don't recall, I don't understand." Like they have been coached, definitely, to say certain phrases in certain periods or in certain instances while they're on the stand. Because, I mean, who just says, "Well, can you rephrase that?" No, he. You usually just say, "What?" So I definitely think that he was coached, and not just him, but many others. And oh, one thing that I want to tell you before we get into Colin's testimony, before him was Allison McCabe, who is Jennifer and Matt McCabe's daughter, one of their four daughters. And she supposedly picked up Colin from the 34 Fairview Road that night. So she claims. And to back that up, she brought in her own screenshots of text messages, which basically she just got decimated on the stand by David Yannetti because he was like, you can just change time stamps and make it say whatever you want, right? And I mean, the jury's not dumb. And these weren't even like validated by law enforcement or anything. Like it didn't come from anywhere but other than the people that we suspect of doing wrong. And they're handing over evidence. It's amazing that Judge Bev even let it in, but she did with no foundation and whatnot. But she let it in. So they'll talk about that text exchange a little bit, and they'll also, well, there's a whole lot that they'll talk about.
to in order to prepare for your testimony yesterday?
My lawyer.
Other than your lawyer, who did you speak to prepare for your testimony yesterday?
No one.
You didn't speak to your parents?
No.
You didn't speak to your mom, your dad?
Nope.
At any time before yesterday about your testimony or your statements?
Nope.
Did you discuss with your parents their testimony?
No.
So after they got off the witness stand, your dad didn't come home and say, "Here's how my day went"?
No.
Your mom didn't come home and say, "Here's how my day went"?
Nope.
The Albert family just ignored the fact that both of them testified in a court of law before a jury about the events of January 29th, 2022. Nothing was ever said?
No.
Did you talk to Mr. Lally at any point, before yesterday in preparation for your testimony?
Before yesterday, you said?
Correct.
Yes.
Tell me when.
I didn't talk to anybody. Oh wait, Adam Lally? Yeah, I talked to him. Really, guys? These liars are so bad at lying. So obvious.
Want to say a month ago about?
What did you talk about?
I got prepped for this.
Tell me what that means. What does it mean to prep for this?
What I'm going to be getting asked.
Okay. Remember my first question, very first question this morning? I said, have you spoken to anybody in order to prepare for your testimony? And you said, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not true. You spoke to Mr. Lally.
Okay. Yes.
It's not okay. It's yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. You said that was about a month ago, correct?
Correct. Around a month ago.
Tell me what, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Around a month ago, I'd say.
Tell me what you and Mr. Lally discussed. Can
The questions I would be asked here.
you be more detailed?
I don't remember everything he said.
Did he go over the questions that he believed he would ask?
I believe so.
Did you give him answers to those questions that you believed you would give in response to his questions?
Yes.
What questions did he tell you he was going to ask?
I don't remember.
What answers did you tell him you were going to give?
I don't remember.
That was just a month ago, right?
Yes.
Obviously, you've been thinking about this case quite a bit, haven't you?
Yeah.
Over the last 2.5 years.
No.
How long have you been thinking about this case?
I guess since people started writing about me on the internet.
How about
So let's just put that in perspective. He hasn't been thinking about this case because someone ended up losing their life on his uncle's lawn. But he is affected by the fact that he gets brought up in the media.
since you were at a house where an individual ended up dead on the lawn the next morning? Did that prompt you to start thinking about this case?
No.
Not so much, huh?
Nope.
Did you speak with, when Mr. Lally spoke with you, who else was there?
The witness advocate, I believe, and
Steve Nelson?
yes.
Who else?
And is it Sergeant Tully, I believe?
Tully, T-U-L-L-Y?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Anybody else?
Not that I remember.
Sergeant Tully taking notes while you were having this conversation with Mr. Lally?
I do not remember.
Mr. Lally taking notes?
I do not remember.
Do you remember being told by either Sergeant Tully or Mr. Lally that your conversation was being recorded?
I do not remember.
How long was that meeting?
Say 15 minutes, 20 minutes?
Were you given any instructions by either Sergeant Tully or Mr. Lally about your preparation for your testimony?
Can you rephrase that, please?
Sure. Did they give you any instructions about the preparation for your testimony? How they wanted you to answer questions? The
No.
tone and tenor of your testimony?
No.
How they wanted you to dress, for instance?
No.
Other than that time a month ago,
Do we believe that? Do we really think that Colin Albert dresses like this in real life? No, he does not.
have you spoken with Mr. Lally or anybody from the DA's office since then, before yesterday?
No.
You watched any coverage of this case online?
Nope.
No social media?
No, I don't have social media.
No news, coverage?
Nope.
Nightly news, Channel 25, Channel 5?
No.
National news?
Nope.
Blogs?
Nope.
So literally, according to you, you know zero about the media coverage concerning this case, Commonwealth versus Canton.
Correct.
Did you talk to Allie before her testimony?
No.
When was the last time you did talk to Allie before she testified yesterday?
Allie is Allison McCabe, and Allison testified on the stand that her and Colin are really close, almost like besties. So let's see.
I don't remember.
Give me an idea. She's one of your best friends. A week ago, a day ago, a month ago.
I do not remember.
Could have been a year.
I don't remember talking about this case ever to my best friend regarding a situation where now I'm named a possible suspect. Never talked about it with any of my family members, friends, best friend, nothing. Are we to believe this?
A year ago?
I do not remember.
Okay. Could have been 5 years ago.
No.
Okay. So it's more recently than 5 years ago that you spoke with Allie.
I don't remember.
Okay. So you have no independent recollection as you sit here, the last time you talked to one of your best friends and your cousin about any subject.
No, I don't remember.
Were you ever told in preparation for your testimony, if you start to get stumped or nervous, just say, I don't remember?
Nope.
Nobody ever told you that?
Mm-mm. No.
No?
No, sorry.
It's okay. So nobody ever informed you that you might get nervous on the witness stand, there might be tough questions. Easiest way to get out of that is just say, yeah, I don't recall.
No.
Okay. So you just don't recall because your memory is that bad. You literally don't recall the last time you spoke with Allie.
Objection.
Ask that differently, Mr.
Sure.
Jackson.
Sure. Your testimony is you were not instructed to say, I don't remember. You just literally don't remember.
Correct.
It's an issue with your memory, not an instruction that you received.
Correct.
Right. But you do remember 2.5 years ago, you left 34 Fairview at 12:10 a.m., correct? Down to the
Had
minute.
precisely.
Correct.
Did Mr. Lally, during this meeting that y'all had,
He doesn't remember barely anything from back then, but he remembers leaving the house at 12:10, which would take him out of the timeline. It would make him not there when John arrives. Which, by the way, there's a great moment where Allison McCabe slips on cross-examination saying something like, Colin wasn't there. He wasn't there when John was there. Like, oops. You just slipped that John was there. So, good job, Allie McCabe. Thank you. That was pretty funny.
did Mr. Lally show you anything? Items of evidence, photographs, videos, anything like that?
No.
Did you two talk about any evidence that you might see? Photographs, documents, videos?
Not that I remember.
He didn't show you the series of text messages between you and Miss McCabe, Allie?
I don't remember.
Okay, so you're not saying he didn't. You're just saying, again, you just don't remember.
Correct.
Okay. And this was just a month ago.
A month. Correct.
Could have been sooner than a month. Or, let me ask that a different way. Could have been more recently than a month.
I don't know.
Don't know that either.
Is that no?
Yeah, no.
So, Mr. Albert, you have to answer yes or no, not just.
All right, sorry.
Where were you when this meeting a month ago took place?
At the DA's office on Shawmut Road.
Who contacted you to come to the DA's office?
I do not remember that.
Don't remember that either.
No.
Phone call from Mr. Lally, maybe?
I don't believe that I received the phone call. Maybe my lawyer did or my father, but I don't know. I don't believe I did.
So if your father received a phone call and then told you you need to go to the DA's office to meet with Mr. Lally, that would be a conversation with your dad about your preparation for your testimony, correct?
I wouldn't say so, no.
You would categorize that as such?
No.
Okay. Because, of course, even though you went...
What is that then? I don't understand. It's not a conversation. He asked, "Have you spoken with anybody? With anybody at all about your testimony today?" Uh, that was a conversation he just had with someone about his testimony.
To the DA's office to meet Mr. Lally and a sergeant from the Massachusetts State Police to talk about your testimony. You didn't mention that to your dad.
No.
Didn't mention that to your mom.
No.
When you got done with that meeting, your dad didn't ask you how'd it go, son.
Nope.
Your mom didn't say, how was that meeting?
No.
About this massive murder case.
Objection.
Let me ask you a different way. Do you consider this to be a high-profile murder case?
Objection.
Stand on relevancy, ask it differently.
In your mind, this is an important case, correct? Obviously.
Correct.
But according to you, it just never comes up in the Albert household.
No.
Okay.
And that's what we have, folks. Just blatant denial from all of these folks. Brian Albert, Allie McCabe, all of them so far. It's just blatant arrogance and denial and a feeling of superiority that they're better than the law. They're better than everybody else and they don't deserve to be accountable. And that's basically the message that all of these McAlberts, all of these witnesses that are testifying for the Commonwealth, that are making up things like, oh, she said I hit him, or fabricating text messages that say I picked up my cousin at a party and he wasn't there. But really, those messages could have been any day, any time, any whenever. They could have totally fudged it. And the screenshots that they give us, we'll see it. I think in this one, yeah, I think they'll put them up. It's like you know how you get the iPhone bubble and there's the blue bubble and the gray bubble. Well, there was no bubble for the gray. So that also makes me think that it's very fabricated, but the jury can decide that.
You were asked to look at a couple of text messages yesterday. Looked a little bit like this.
Here we
You
go.
seen that before?
This is what
Yes.
I was just talking about.
When did you see that before?
Yesterday?
Before yesterday? Had you ever seen that before?
On my phone, yeah.
Okay, other than on your phone when you made the screenshot, had you ever seen that before? Mr. Lally ever showed it to you?
Not that I remember, no.
So you two didn't discuss that in your meeting a month or less ago?
We could have. I don't remember.
But again, you don't remember. Is that no?
No.
Did Mr. Lally tell you why he wanted to question you about those text messages?
I don't remember.
Did Mr. Lally tell you anything about what you might be asked on cross-examination?
No.
Did he ask you about any videos that you've ever posted?
No.
Did he ask you about any comments you've ever made online?
Nope.
Any photos you've ever been in?
No.
Any fights you've ever been in?
Nope.
Who's Courtney Proctor?
She's friendly with my aunt, Jillian.
I want to point out they all keep saying she's friendly with, or they're friendly. They're friendly with so and so instead of saying they're friends with. Like, what is the difference? They're trying to like not admit that these people are friends. So she's friendly with my mom's sister, but yada yada. You know, like ugh, they're not friends. What's the difference between they're friendly and they're friends? Anybody? Bueller?
I'm sorry?
My aunt Jillian, she's friendly with.
When you say friendly with, describe that. What do you mean by friendly with?
I know that they're pretty friendly.
Have you ever been to Courtney Proctor's home?
Yes.
How many times would you say over the years?
4 or 5, maybe.
Her family is close.
Oh, it's his aunt that is friends with Courtney. So his parents, for all the people that can barely keep track, it's hard, you know. So Colin Albert is the son of Chris and Julie Albert. They both said that they were home and in bed by the time that Colin came up, gave him a hug, kiss, and everything, and they were back to bed, or then he went to bed. And that's his alibi. And now Allie McCabe is, or they're calling her Alibi McCabe, um, now came forward with these text messages that apparently show that she picked him up. But It could have been at any time, any day, whenever. It didn't, and there's no like date change because it goes from the 28th to the 29th. There's no like no notice that now it's the 29th in your text message chain. That's what it should do. So there's a lot of flaws in these messages.
Close to your family, it's fair to say.
Not that close. Close though.
When you say not that close, but close though, what does that mean?
I'd say we're more close when I was younger, not when I got older.
Okay. How old are you now? You're 20?
Correct.
May I approach you?
Okay.
I have a photo I'd like to show Mr. Wilder first. May I?
Yes.
Thank you. Take a look at that photo. And tell me if you recognize it. Just look at it to yourself, please. Let me know after you studied it for a second.
Yep.
You recognize the photo?
Yes.
Who's in that photo?
Objection.
So the objection sustained as to the content of the photos. Did you want to come to sidebar and explain this to me?
Man, these stupid sidebars are really irritating. I just think the judge doesn't want to look foolish, and she doesn't want the Commonwealth looking foolish, even though they already do. And that's why she wants all these sidebars up um, at her desk. Whereas normally they could just argue some of these things in front of the jury, like objection, relevance. Like that's all you have to say. Like she doesn't even want them speaking their objections. They're not. They can only say objection. They're not allowed to even say what their objection is. So the judge is just supposed to guess why the lawyer is objecting. And most of the time she just sustains it for the Commonwealth anyway. So we know she's biased. It's you don't even have to ask, is she biased? She just is.
Objection.
No, we can get that, but we'll answer that question.
Oh,
We can.
back up.
Thank you. Mr. Albert, approximately when was that photograph taken?
Objection.
No, we can get that, but we'll answer that question.
10 years or less ago, I'd say. I don't.
You were the ring bearer in Courtney Proctor's wedding, were you not?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
Correct.
So when you say we're friendly, but not that, or we're close rather, but not that close, you were actually close enough to be a member of her wedding party when she was married to her now husband, correct?
When I was younger, correct.
Well, of course it was.
There's photos that were unearthed, I think, by Turtle Boy or his clan of turtle writers. Someone found it. There were many photos and videos on social media and things that don't depict Colin Albert in the best light, or the family for that matter, because they've been lying about the fact that they don't know Proctor, and now Proctor had to finally admit it in his, I think, second federal grand jury um, uh, testimony is the word I'm looking for. Like my mind goes to the next thought and then I lose it. Sorry. All right. So, anyways, it's there's so many reasons why this case should have been thrown out.
When you were younger, it was 10 years ago.
Mhm.
Is that yes?
Yeah.
That's my question. So for at least a decade, your family and the Proctor family has been close enough such that you and Albert were in.
Not just thrown out. Karen Reed's charges need to be dismissed. She needs to be given something for all of this because what they've put her through is horrible. And they need to arrest the actual culprits. And I think we may have found them. I'm just saying. I think we always knew who they were, but.
In her wedding, correct?
Objection.
Ask that differently, Mr. Jackson.
For the last, well, at least at that time, 10 years ago, your family was close enough to the Proctor family such that you were a ring bearer in Courtney Proctor's wedding, right?
Correct.
And who's Courtney Proctor's brother?
Michael Proctor.
And is Michael Proctor in the photograph that you're looking at?
Yes.
Person on the far left,
Correct.
looks like he's in a tuxedo.
Correct.
You were also in a tuxedo.
Objection.
Sustained.
What I'm getting at is you all were
Lead investigator of this case and good family friend, the suspect, but never treated as such.
Part of the same wedding party, correct?
Correct.
And that's a photograph of Courtney Proctor's wedding and the entire wedding party, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Is that a photograph of a wedding party?
Objection.
Sustained.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
All right, they approach again. He asks some more questions about it, and oh, come on.
Mr. Albert, I want you to look at that one more time. Both you and Michael Proctor are depicted in the photograph, correct?
Correct.
How long have you known Michael Proctor?
Since I was a little kid.
And you've known him.
I love AJ's just direct questions. Like he'll just be asking something, and then all of a sudden, who's Courtney Proctor? Just out of nowhere, and he's so direct, and I love it.
Well enough to know, I don't want you to tell me or tell the jurors, but you know where he lives.
Yeah.
You consider the Proctor family close to your family.
Yeah.
During the course of, for instance, just as an example, during the course of,
He kind of hesitated on that. Let's go back. I feel like he almost wanted to deny the relationship.
you consider the Proctor family close to your family.
Yeah.
Thought about
During
that
the course
for a
of,
minute.
for
And
instance,
we're on 1.5 speed. He thought about that for a minute to answer it.
just as an example, during the course of this event, joyous event at a wedding, you actually sat at the head table along with the Proctor family because you were given the honor of being ring bearer in Courtney's wedding, correct?
Correct.
And you know, of course, that being in a wedding party is reserved for those special family members and friends, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
In your mind, was that a special honor?
Objection.
Is that what you thought when you were little? When you were in that?
I'd say so, yeah.
Okay.
And you were never interviewed by Canton Police Department in connection with this case, correct?
No.
How many times were you interviewed by the Massachusetts State Police in connection with this case?
Once.
And that was in July of 2023, correct?
I don't remember exactly when it was.
About a year and a half after the events in question. Is that right?
Around there.
Okay. Would it refresh your recollection if you saw
He was not interviewed until a year and a half later. And that is because it came out in grand jury testimony that he was in the house because original statements from everybody nobody included him as being there. And as we've seen in this trial, they've asked every individual who was in that house, why didn't you tell us Colin was there? And they're like, oh, well, they don't really have a reason for it. But now that Colin is potentially a suspect, mostly because they've been hiding him so well, now what? What are they going to say? We have every right to look at other individuals who may have caused those injuries because Karen didn't. Karen's car did not do those things.
a copy of a report of that interview? Just to get the date?
Sure, yeah.
May I approach you?
Yes.
I mean, take a look at paragraph 1. It's in the middle of the paragraph. If you'll just read that to yourself, please.
Yes.
2023?
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection that that was the first time you were interviewed by the Massachusetts State Police?
Correct.
May I approach you?
Yes.
Thank you.
So Proctor
Who conducted that interview?
And Urian Buchanan interviewed him a year and whatever months he said after the fact, after John lost his life that night. And that again, that's only because federal grand jury testimony indicated that Colin was in the house. And I think it was only because someone was confronted with data, like text data or phone data of somebody's, that they were able to like pinpoint him there or something, I think. Anyways, there is also, it is alleged that he had been messaging a friend, Aaron Beatty, who, if we go back to the timeline episode, which was probably like episode 4 of my series, Jen McCabe kept calling someone named Beatty with the last name Beatty. And so that we were always like, well, who is that? Well, it's one of the friends of John who their kids were same ages, and so they, would get together and stuff. So, yeah. Anyways, let's move on.
Michael Proctor and one of his partners, I believe. I don't remember.
Michael Proctor was the lead investigator that interviewed you, correct?
Correct.
That's the same Michael Proctor that appears on the far left of the photo of that wedding party, correct?
Correct.
Did you find that interview, by the way, how long did the interview last, Michael Proctor?
I do not remember.
Do you remember testifying at one point that it was about 10 minutes?
No.
You testified at a different hearing, a different proceeding, not this proceeding, one other time, correct?
Correct.
I may have just a moment.
Yes.
Referring to the federal.
May I approach?
Yes.
I need a foundational question first. I apologize. It's my fault, Mr. Albert.
Okay.
Do you believe it would refresh your recollection as to the length of that first interview if you were to see your testimony from a prior proceeding?
Yeah.
May I approach, John?
Yes.
Thank you. That transcript. Let me know when you review it.
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
How long was that interview?
Which interview are you?
The interview that you had with Michael Proctor. That's what that question was about, that you just read.
I still don't remember.
Okay. You recall that it says that you testified. Question, how long
Objection.
did the interview last for?
Objection sustained where his memory is not refreshed. You can do this differently, you know that.
Did this refresh your recollection as to the question and answer, how you answered the question, how long that interview lasted?
Yes.
Okay. Did you say 10 minutes?
Yes.
Then how come you couldn't just say that if you read that? Like, this guy is so lying. Like, I mean, I feel like Ashton Kutcher is gonna jump out of the bushes and go, haha, punked. This is all just a big joke because none of it makes sense. And we're believing this kid who obviously is lying.
So during the course of that 10-minute conversation that you had with Michael Proctor, what was the tone of that interview? You understand what I mean by tone?
I do not understand.
Okay. Was it hostile and accusatory?
Not that I remember, no.
Was it antagonistic or confrontational?
Can you use different words, please?
Sure. Was he being mean?
No.
Okay. He was being nice, right?
Professional, I'd say.
Yeah. Because you've known him almost your whole life, right?
Yes.
He was friendly and cordial,
Correct.
and the interview was comfortable.
Say it again?
The interview was comfortable.
Correct.
You didn't feel like you were on the hot seat.
No.
In other words, he wasn't treated like a suspect. He was treated like a chummy, buddy, friend, whatever. You're just hanging out, shooting the breeze. Even though I'm investigating the life that was taken of a Boston police officer. Unreal. It's a tragedy.
Did you find that the interview with Michael Proctor was consistent with the relationship that you've had with him your whole life? Meaning, he's always been friendly to you. He was just as friendly in that conversation.
Not really, no.
How was he different?
I'd say more professional.
Okay. Obviously, he was doing a job, correct?
Correct.
But when you walked in, you recognized him.
Yes.
He recognized you.
Yes.
You made natural greetings with one another, correct?
Correct.
He questioned you about a few things.
Correct.
He didn't look at your phone. He didn't ask to take your phone away from you.
No.
He didn't ask to seize your phone or seize any other physical item.
Sounds to me like they were friendly. They were just being friendly with one another.
From you.
No.
You weren't asked to come down to the police station and sit in an interview room or an interrogation room, were you?
No.
In fact, where did the conversation take place for those 10 minutes?
In the DA's office on Shummet Road.
DA's office on Shummet Road. Who else was there other than Trooper Proctor and his partner at the time, Trooper Clark?
Can you
Who
repeat?
else was there? Was it just Trooper Proctor, Michael Proctor, and Clark?
Yes.
Okay, so just three.
Yes.
And Trooper Proctor was the one who was sort of leading the conversation.
Yes.
And when it was done, he said, "You're free to go."
Correct.
And he didn't take your phone.
Nope.
He didn't ask you to look at any text messages.
Nope.
He didn't look through your phone.
Nope.
He didn't take any screenshots or videos of your phone, of the contents of your phone.
Nope.
Just let you walk out the door.
Correct.
Your Honor, may I publish the photo?
Why don't you come over here for just 1 second? May I have that, please?
Come over here for just 1 second. Judge Bev is really showing her true colors in this case, and I don't like it one bit. This is Paul O'Keefe, and he is right on top of Karen. That's Karen's head, like right here. He's right on top of her, always looking directly at her, staring her down. It's really disgusting. You can kind of tell that the O'Keefe family believes Karen Reed is guilty, even though they have to know. They have to know in their heart that she's not listening to this evidence, right? I mean, these people are, they can't be that stupid that they're falling for the Commonwealth's BS, right? They have to be Paul O'Keefe and Aaron O'Keefe and uh, Peggy and John Sr. Like, they have to be um, hearing what we're hearing, right? I just don't know why they're still against her. I don't know.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Albert, I want to shift gears for a quick second. On July 27th, you and your attorney appeared at a hearing in a separate proceeding, correct?
I don't.
Let me ask it a different way. You testified at a different proceeding, not this trial, but a different proceeding.
Correct.
Okay. You appeared under oath. You appeared with your lawyer. You gave testimony, and that's part of what you looked at a second.
Correct.
Okay. But when you met with Michael Proctor, you did not feel the need to take an attorney with you. It was just you, Michael Proctor, and Investigator Clark, correct?
Objection.
That's sustained.
You were asked yesterday about certain texts with your cousin Allie, correct?
Correct.
Allie is obviously family,
Yes.
but she's more than family. She's also a good friend of yours.
Correct.
As a matter of fact, she's one of your best friends.
Correct.
And at your age, this is not meant to be pejorative, but we're different generations. At your age, your most convenient way of communicating is through text messages, correct?
Correct.
I mean, if you're going to grab a buddy and say, let's meet at the such and such ball field or whatever, you're going to text them, probably not call them.
Either or.
Okay. But texting is pretty common between you and your friends.
Yes.
Texting is certainly common between you and Allie. We've already seen evidence of that, right?
Yes.
And that's generally how you like to communicate with Allie.
I'd say so. Yeah.
In fact, when you reached out to her for a ride, there were like 8 text messages back and forth just for a pickup, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, just where you are.
Sure.
Yeah, they're showing that they used to use the messages constantly, and then there's a lapse where they stop texting one another for about a month's period.
On the screen.
Okay.
Here we go. These are the text messages that you're supposed to believe are real.
You want me to approach?
Men approach over here.
There we go.
Do you want the Commonwealth to pull it? Mr. Jackson, do you want the Commonwealth to pull it up for you?
That'd
You'd be happy to, Your Honor. It's fine.
Yeah.
be great.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman.
All right. Well, it's not working.
Displayed on the screen.
Yes.
It's only part of the text string, but does that look like it's an accurate representation of what you're looking at?
And why is the haha here all alone on its own thing? Like, doesn't it go like right on the bubble that you ha-ha'd? I'm confused by that too. And look, they don't have, like I was saying, the gray bubbles that you would have on a on your own text message. Where's my text? I don't want to show you my text. But you know what I'm saying. They don't have the gray bubble. And somebody else who is a smarty pants was saying that I need one where I've replied. Let's do this. So what they're saying is, or here, I want to show. So pull when you pull your texts over to reveal the time, they're all lined up. So all your texts are lined up squarely together instead of the staggered, like, here's a message, here's a message. They line up because you know what I'm saying? So that's another flaw that I think is with this. I definitely think this is manufactured. Look at it. I mean, they don't have the gray bubbles, the haha there, the well, let's let it play out.
Yes.
And this is a series of texts on or about January 28th and 29th of 2022, is that right?
Yes.
And why would it duplicate the time if it was both of these are at 11:54. Wouldn't it only say the time once? And then when it changes to 11:55, it would only say that once again? You know?
Mr. Albert, you needed something as simple as a ride. You were just asking Allie to give you a ride. Is that right?
Yes.
And that's because you said that it's common for you guys to text back and forth. You just texted her, hey, you can get me now. Is that right?
Yes.
And then you texted if it's easier. And then she said, okay, I'm dropping people off. And there was an exchange back and forth. Is that right?
Yeah.
And there were at least 8 texts between the two of you, if you just count them up real quick, just about getting picked up.
Yeah.
If you scroll down a little bit, after the end of that text string that ends at 12:10 a.m. and says okay, you see the next date?
Yes.
What date is that?
February 20th.
That's nearly a month later, correct?
Correct.
So there was a gap after January 29th, 2022, when you found out that a man had ended up dead on your uncle's lawn, and you and Allie did not text each other for a month, not once.
Objection.
Sustained as to that form. Ask it differently.
Isn't it true that on January 29th, later in the day, you found out about John O'Keefe and his condition, the fact that he died?
Objection.
Is that true? Did you find out that day?
Yes.
Okay.
So you were well aware of, we can take that down. You were well aware, Mr. Albert, that something very tragic had happened at your uncle's house, Brian Albert's house, right?
Correct.
And you were aware that you had been at your uncle's house that night, right?
Correct.
You're also aware that, according to you, Allie McCabe was the one that picked you up and took you from that location.
Correct.
And notwithstanding the fact of this tragedy, you and Allie didn't text each other one time for a month. Is that right?
I don't think that's correct.
So where are those texts?
We text on other platforms too, so I'd say other apps.
So is there a reason why you decided for the next month to just switch platforms to maybe Snapchat?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
No reason.
Are you sure that you switched platforms?
I'd say so, yeah.
Why did you switch platforms?
We go back and
Maybe because Snapchat messages can disappear.
forth, I'd say, between platforms texting.
You switched platforms because you know that Snapchat deletes all communications, correct?
Objection.
Ask it differently, Mr.
Do
Jackson.
you know that Snapchat has an auto-delete function on it?
If your app is set to that, yes.
Your app was set to that, wasn't it?
I do not remember that.
So again, your memory is failing you.
Can you rephrase that?
Sure, once again, your memory is failing you. You just
Objection.
don't remember.
Objection.
Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Isn't it true, Mr. Albert, that you either switched platforms or deleted the texts because you did not want your text communications with Allie McCabe to be discovered?
Objection.
Overruled.
Is that right?
It's not true.
So where are those communications?
I do not know.
Can't produce them right now, can you?
I'm not sure.
So in the days, the hours, and days and weeks following the death of John O'Keefe, your communications with your best friend, Allie, the person who gave you a ride home that night, they're just gone. Right?
I'm not sure.
You testified that you provided Exhibit 81, what we're just looking at, and you're still looking at in front of you, as a screenshot of your communications on January 29th, 2022 with Allie McCabe, correct? It was a screenshot.
You say that again? Sorry.
You provided that item as a screenshot, not as an actual text to law enforcement. Is that right?
I don't believe so.
Okay, do you know what a screenshot is?
Yes.
What's a screenshot?
When you take a picture on your phone.
That's a picture from your phone.
Yes.
Okay, so it is a screenshot.
Yes, it is a screenshot.
Okay, that's my question. When you met with Michael Proctor in that interview that lasted 10 minutes, Michael Proctor did not get the actual texts underlying that screenshot, did he?
No.
He never looked for those actual texts, did he?
No.
He never asked you for those actual texts, did he?
No.
And you never volunteered to give him those actual texts, did you?
I think I volunteered to, yeah.
On that day?
Oh, no, not on that day, no.
Not on that day. You know what a phone extraction is?
Not familiar.
Okay. Have you ever heard of a phone imaging or a phone extraction or a forensic extraction? Any of those words sound familiar?
Not really, no.
Michael Proctor never asked you, I think it's fair to say now, given that answer, Michael Proctor never asked you if he could do a phone extraction of your cell phone, did he?
No.
He never asked if he could take a forensic image of your phone, did he?
No.
Do you know what metadata is?
Nope.
You know the dates and times. You take a photo on your phone. Sometimes, well, not sometimes, all the time. It'll capture the date and time of the photo. You know that?
Objection.
I'll hear this answer and it may end your inquiry. Do you know that?
Pretty sure I do, yeah.
Have you ever heard of that data, the dates and times and geolocations? Have you ever heard of that referred to as metadata?
No.
Okay, so I'll just use the word date and time.
Okay.
You know that on your phone, if you pull up a text, you can go behind the text and see the date and time that it was actually sent or received, right?
Yeah.
But on a screenshot, you're left with just what's on the screen. You can't go behind the screenshot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. you provided just the screenshot, ultimately, not the actual text, correct?
Correct.
But in September of 2023, Michael Proctor's partner, a man by the name of Yuri Buknik, you know that name?
Yeah.
He contacted you and said he wanted to talk about your text messages, correct?
I don't remember.
Do you remember that you told Yuri Buknik when he asked about the text messages, you did not have the screenshot anymore, you sent it to your father, Chris?
I don't remember that.
Do you recall telling Yuri Buknik if he wanted to get the screenshot, you weren't going to give it to him, he'd have to get it from your dad?
Do not remember that.
Do you remember Trooper Buknik agreeing with you and saying, sure, I'll just call your dad and get it from him?
Don't remember that.
You certainly don't remember ever giving Trooper Buknik a copy of that screenshot.
No, I don't remember.
Because you didn't, did you?
I do not remember.
But you did give it to your dad, right?
I do not remember.
Do you remember anything about this case?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll withdraw.
Remember anything?
To this day, you have never been required to present your phone to any law enforcement agent, have you?
Nope.
It was never imaged. It was never downloaded.
Nope.
You still have the same phone?
Yes.
If you had the actual texts on your phone, why did you provide law enforcement with just a screenshot?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
I'm not sure.
You were shown a photo yesterday of you in February of 2022 with your aunt. Remember that photo? Mr. Lally showed you that photo?
Correct.
And he said he wanted you to pay special attention to your face and hands and extremities. Asked you if there was anything unusual about that.
Yes.
You said no. In that photo, absolutely nothing unusual in February 2022 about you, your face, your hands, fists, nothing. Right?
Correct.
I want to draw your attention to February 26th, same month, less than a month after the incident. You were at a place called Fenway Johnny's with your buddies, weren't you?
Correct.
You and I have two documents I'd like to mark for identification, but of course permission to show Mr. Lally.
Okay.
One, two.
Approach.
All right, I think this is when they go on their break and they kick the jury out. Oh, wait. Not yet. They will.
So you're putting it in evidence before you display it?
Sure. May I approach one more time?
Yes.
Multiple documents on it. I don't want you to tell me what's on it. Just tell me if you recognize the picture that's in the middle to the right.
Yes.
Okay. And then looking at the second document, which I believe is marked EE for identification at this point, does that appear to be a true and accurate enlargement of the first thumbnail?
Yes.
And those were taken on February, that photo was taken on February 26, 2022,
Yes.
at the place called, I think it's called Fenway Johnny's, right?
Correct.
Okay. May I publish the...
Put it into evidence
Sorry,
first.
Move for the admission of just EE.
So you need to get it to the court reporter.
May I, I'm sorry, just FF. May I approach?
Yes.
EE or FF?
One hand. FF.
Okay, give it to Madam Court Reporter to put the exhibit number on it.
Exhibit 85, Your Honor. Thank you. Excuse me, FF.
Are you in that photograph?
Oh, here.
Yes.
We go.
Which person are you?
In the middle.
And about what time of day was it? That's you in the middle?
Correct.
Okay. About what time of day was this taken?
Not sure.
Was it at an event of some sort or just you were at a bar?
Just at a bar.
Okay. I want you to take a look at your right hand. Can you see from there clearly your right hand?
Yes.
What do you notice about your right hand?
It's cut up.
Your knuckles are injured, correct?
Correct.
Now, you didn't take this photo, did you?
Nope.
That photo was never on your phone. In other words, it wasn't a friend of yours that took the photo.
No.
Correct? This was taken by an event staff member, is that right?
Correct.
It was later posted on social media, isn't that right?
Correct.
You could not access the metadata, you couldn't access the time and date of that photo, correct?
I'm not sure what you mean by
You
that.
couldn't manipulate the time or date this photo was taken?
No.
This photo was completely sort of out of your control, isn't that right?
Correct.
And it was controlled by the event staff at Fenway Johnny's.
Correct.
And on February 26th, less than a month after the incident at Fairview, that's what your right knuckles look like, correct?
Correct.
And this is a true and accurate depiction of your condition on or about February 26th, correct?
Correct.
How'd you get those injuries, Mr. Albert? We can lights up.
I was at a party, my house party my senior year, and I remember it being icy out, and it was kind of like a steep hill of a driveway, and I was walking up the driveway, and I slipped down the driveway, and I tried to catch myself, but I had something in my left hand, so I tried to brace myself with my right hand, and I ended up sliding a little bit down the driveway.
What do you have in your left hand?
If I remember, it was either my phone or a beverage.
So according to you, you fell on ice and injured your knuckles as we just saw in that photograph, right across the top of your knuckles.
Correct.
Okay. So you fell onto what, pavement, asphalt?
Yes.
And you braced yourself when you fell, your entire body weight, by putting your right hand down in a fist, and you injured your right fist, just the top of the knuckles on your right fist when you fell down.
Correct.
He was doing the superhero landing, but he went a little too hard, and it bruised up his knuckles there.
Seriously?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Ridiculous.
You put your palms down when you fell?
No.
You fell your entire body weight on your right fist and just injured the top portion of your knuckles, correct?
Correct.
Those injuries to your knuckles look an awful lot like the type of injuries that you would get in a
Objection, Your
fight.
Honor.
Sustained.
You ever been in a fight, sir?
Other than with my brothers, no.
You've never been in a fight
Nope.
your entire life.
You guys believe that? I don't. His uncle, Bri, who he looks up to so much, is into MMA fighting. And I want to say he also, I don't know if he's gotten into MMA, but being that he does look up to his uncle, he might do some boxing sparring with him. I don't know. There might even be one of those Boston Finest episodes where Colin is on the episode doing some boxing. That's what somebody said in Melanie's chat today. But I don't know. I can't confirm that. But that'd be pretty interesting if we have some video of him boxing from one of the Boston Finest episodes. Be pretty interesting. If somebody could dig that up, that'd be great.
Other than with my brothers, no.
Never heard
Just like how, Katie McLaughlin says, no, we're not friends. I only went to high school with her. I barely know her. And then everyone comes out of the woodwork and gives us pictures to prove her wrong. So maybe after Colin's testimony, we might have a little bit of the same because there might be some things that people want to prove are incorrect in his testimony.
hurt your knuckles before.
Not sure what you mean.
Never hurt your knuckles in a fight.
No.
And in this case, when you fell down on the asphalt, it was only the top four knuckles of your right hand, correct?
Correct.
You right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
You box?
Nope.
I'm sorry, you don't box?
Nope.
You've never boxed?
Never.
Never
You ever practiced boxing?
I've hit the bag for like cardio, but other than that, no.
When you hit the bag, is that considered boxing?
I wouldn't say so. Not
It's not jumping
really.
rope, is it, Mr. Albert?
No.
It's not doing curls.
Nope.
It's not doing push-ups or calisthenics.
Nope.
It's hitting a bag, correct?
Yeah.
That's boxing, right?
I'd say yeah.
Yeah. When that photograph was taken at Fenway Johnny's, those knuckles look like they had been re-injured from a prior injury. No?
No.
Just falling on the asphalt.
Yeah. Did he re-injure those knuckles after, say maybe he got them January 28th, 29th, and then he re-injures them? Maybe they don't heal properly because he continues to box. I don't know. Could be any number of reasons.
Correct.
Any
But
other?
I do know it's not because he fell and landed on his knuckles. That's the one thing I do know didn't cause those injuries on his knuckle.
Cuts or scrapes from that terrible fall on the asphalt?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll rephrase it. Any other cuts or scrapes or injuries from that fall?
I don't remember.
Just your right knuckles.
Yeah.
You said you've never been in a fight before.
Nope.
Did you post a video? You threatened that you're going to.
Objection, Your Honor.
The objection sustained. I'll see you at sidebar on this. I'm familiar with this.
She's familiar with this. This must be their morning break. This was a half day, so they didn't go to lunch, but they do go on break. I want to say, is it soon? It might be soon.
So, Mr. Albert, you stay right where you are. We're going to see a couple of short videos, and then
That's it. This is the proffer. So I'm going to skip the proffer because she actually surprisingly lets this stuff in. I think she had no other choice. She didn't let it in. I mean, definitely reversible error. Definitely. So I'm going to skip through the voir dire or proffer of this, and we'll come back from their break fresh, and this is more cross.
Two marked for exhibit, mark. Wait a minute.
All right, so here's one
You know,
video.
your Benton's boys. I will beat all your asses. I promise you, I will fuck you all up. Pull up, bitch.
Yeah, what? Did you recognize what was depicted in that video?
Yes.
Who was that?
Oh, let's play that over again so you could hear it again. So, he's talking to the Advantage Boys. That's who he's calling out. The Advantage Boys. They're like a local hockey team, I guess. So he wants to fight a whole hockey team. This guy must not be, full marbles up there. So let's watch that again.
You know, your Benton's boys. I will beat all your asses. I promise you, I will fuck you all up. Pull up, bitch.
Yeah, what? Did you recognize what was depicted in that video?
Yes.
Who was that?
Me.
Approximately when was that video taken?
Around my sophomore year in high school.
Sophomore year or senior year in high school?
Say around my sophomore year in high school.
Why do you say your sophomore year when you previously... Oh, let me ask it a different way. Did you previously testify at a different hearing back in July of 2023?
Yes.
You were asked about this video, weren't you?
Yes.
You were asked about another video at the same time, correct?
Correct.
And in that hearing, you said you believe that was taken closer to your junior year or senior year in high school, correct?
Correct.
That was under the oath?
Correct.
Same oath that you took here.
Correct.
Closer in time to the events in question, and at that time you said your junior year or senior year in high school, correct?
Correct.
If it was your senior year in high school, what year would that have been?
21, 22. So 2021, 2022.
Going into 2022, correct?
Yeah.
The same year that John O'Keefe passed away.
Correct.
What did you mean by, I'm gonna fuck you up?
That I was going to beat them up?
Actually, you didn't say beat them up. You said, I'm gonna beat your ass, didn't you?
Yes.
That was a threat, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was a threat directed at some other individuals with whom you had some sort of a beef or a problem.
Correct.
And your resolution of that problem is, I'm gonna fuck you up, I'm gonna beat your ass, right?
Correct.
But you've never been in a fight.
Never.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, could we play evidence number 87?
Yes.
You're a bitch, bro. Fuck you. Now fuck you, pussy. Good code, boy. You be knocked out. Hey, yo. Bang, bang.
Let's watch that one more time. It's hard to hear. He's obviously saying something, knock you out, bang bang, KO, bang bang, at the very end there. And it's obviously not a nice video. It's not a friendly video.
You're a bitch, bro. Fuck you. Now fuck you, pussy. Good code, boy. You be knocked out. Hey, yo. Bang, bang.
Knock out, KO, bang
May I
bang.
inquire?
Yes.
Mr. Albert, who was that in that video?
Me.
Was that taken around the same time?
Yes.
You indicated, you're a bitch, bro. Right?
Correct.
Was that a threat?
Yes.
More of an insult?
Yeah. More of an insult.
Calling someone out?
Yep.
Making them feel bad?
Yeah.
Prompting them to maybe fight?
Objection, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'll ask that question differently, Mr. Jackson.
Also calling them a pussy, didn't you?
Correct.
Derogatory comment?
Correct.
And then you said, KO, bang bang, right?
Correct.
What's KO mean?
Knockout.
And what does bang bang mean?
I'm not sure, honestly.
You were just talking about
Exactly. What does bang bang mean? Because when I hear bang bang, I think gun gun. I mean, what else does bang bang mean?
knocking somebody out.
Correct.
And the bang bang just sort of flowed.
Exactly.
Was that a threat?
Yes.
And these threats that we've just talked about, that we've just seen, these are threats of physical violence, right?
Correct.
You're not threatening to hurt their feelings or send them a mean text, right?
No.
You're threatening to kick their ass, right?
Correct.
To get physical, right?
Yes.
To ball up your fists and beat the shit out of them.
Objection.
Can you answer that? Will you answer that, please?
Yeah, can you repeat the question?
Probably shouldn't. You were threatening to ball up your fists and beat the heck out of them.
Objection.
I'll allow it. Is that what you were threatening to do?
Yes.
When you testified in a separate proceeding in July of 2023, you actually showed up for questioning live, correct?
Yes.
And you showed up at the time in July of 2023 with your knuckles busted out again, didn't you?
Correct.
And you were asked about your knuckles at that time, correct?
Correct.
And that time you
Another federal grand jury. The following year, he shows up in 2023, he shows up to this grand jury testimony with banged up knuckles. Can't make this up, folks. You can't make it up.
said, oh no, I didn't fall down on black ice and slip and break my fall with my knuckles like you said. Here, you said, oh, I hit a heavy bag and busted my knuckles up on a heavy bag, right?
Correct.
So that heavy bag was you practicing boxing, right?
It was me getting cardio, yes.
Which is in a form of fighting,
In a form, yeah.
punching a bag.
Me getting cardio. Come on. Come on. That's not why.
Yep.
That's how you choose to do your cardio.
Sometimes.
And you're right-handed,
Yes.
and it was your right hand that was busted up.
Correct.
So when you throw your hardest punch, that's with your right hand, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I'd say they're equal.
You're equally strong with both hands.
I'd say so.
So in your words, you could fuck somebody up with either hand, right?
Objection, Your Honor.
You answer that.
No, I'm not saying that.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Lally?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yikes. Lolly tries, man. He tries to clean it up, but there's no coming back from this. What do you guys think? Do you believe Colin? Do you think he had anything that he said that was credible? I don't. I mean, at this point, why are we even putting these people up on the stand? This thing is just a huge charade, and let's drop these charges and go home and give Karen all the money of the Norfolk County because she deserves it. And Turtle Boy. Turtle Boy has spent 60 days in prison because of these lying MFers who are totally abusing the system, abusing this unconstitutional statute of witness intimidation, and but yet it's okay to throw Aiden into prison for 60 days when they've got the law. They're the ones intimidating the people. Commonwealth is, and it's got to stop now, according to Michael Morrissey. That's my best. Man, that's probably not my best Boston accent, but I do enjoy a good Boston accent. You guys have a good Massachusetts. You guys all have a really great accents and kind of jealous. But anyways, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I just kind of threw it together because I knew this guy was lying and I wanted to rewatch his testimony with you guys and evaluate it with you because yikes, the Commonwealth has some cleaning up to do if they have any shot of convicting Karen, which I don't believe they will because they don't have the evidence and this whole trial has been trying to defend the McAlberts. I cannot wait for Jen McCabe, Michael Proctor, and a few others, just to name a few. But I mean, we've heard from most of the Alberts, so Jen McCabe and Michael Proctor are like the big ones that I can't wait to hear. And they have to put Proctor on. Proctor is the lead investigator, even though they've been trying to say he's the co-lead. All of a sudden, no, he's always been the lead investigator, and they're just upset that we found out that they have this deeply connected family to the Alberts, the Proctors. Even Proctor's mother said on social media that they are like a second family. So you have that against Proctor, which makes me think that it's got to come in that somehow there's that close personal relationship and he was trying to hide it. That's got to come in when they question him, but we'll see. We shall see. I am hoping that I'm hoping the charges get thrown out, but I don't think that's going to happen. We'll see. All right, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to hit the like button and also make sure you have the notification bell on so that um, when I do release episodes of this case or other cases that involve corruption, cover up, wrongful convictions, you guys can get notified and eventually watch my stuff. So thank you, take care, and I'll see you later. Bye, guys. If you've been impacted by a true crime and would like your story told in your own words, or if you or someone you know has been wrongfully convicted or accused of a crime, please write to crimeincourtchannel@gmail.com and tell us your real true crime encounters. Thanks for watching.